A number of years ago, I did a video running down what at the time were my 5 top favorite amp models that we have in our Line 6 Helix and HX Stomp. It's now 2024, and I thought maybe it would be fun to do a refresher on that. We know that we've had a lot of firmware updates since that last video, and therefore lots of new amp models. So I wanted to run down what currently are my favorite amp models. The reason I say currently is because this list could probably change depending on the week, the month, or even the day that you ask me. There's so many great amp models in the Helix, but some of these new additions are really incredible. So without further ado, let's take a look at what my top 5 amp models in the Helix as of today are for 2024. All right, so coming in at number 5 on the list is the Placator Dirty amp model. Now, what's going to be funny to anybody who remembers my original video, I believe this amp was on there then, and that really points to the fact of how great this amp model actually is in the Helix. So I'm just pulling this up with the stock settings that come up with it as is. It loads up with these settings, and it's a 412 Greenback 25 cab. Now, what I would do when I first load this up is probably come and pick something like maybe a 160 ribbon or a 121 ribbon. Maybe pull that a few inches back, head back over to the amp controls. And I usually disengage the FAT and the C45 controls. That gives me a really nice starting point for this to sound really killer. Now, I might make some changes to that. I could bring in a little bit of presence and treble to that, maybe crank that gain up a little more. You'll notice in today's video, I'm just keeping these nice and dry, no other processing. Let's just pull that amp up and see what it sounds like right out of the gate. Coming in at number 4 is the Brit Plexi Norm. I really love this amp model, and this, in fact, is the amp model that I use in my #1 main preset when I am performing live for most situations. I mean, obviously, there's going to be times where this isn't going to work, but for most situations, for my kind of generic preset, this is the go-to amp model. I've pulled it up by default here again with these settings. Again, it comes back up with this 412 Greenback 25. Again, I love these ribbon mics. Let's try this one with a 121 ribbon, but we'll pull this back a few more inches. This amp tends to have a nice kind of dark gooey sound to it. Let's just see what that sounds like at these settings. Now, if I was dialing this in, I would obviously add other sweeteners to this, but we can do a lot here, like maybe just crank up the treble and presence. There's just something I really love about this. What happens when we open it right up? Something else that's nice on this is cranking the sag. Give it some really cool squish to it. Coming in at number 3 might surprise some folks, and it might be a hard one to find because we're going to have to look under our bass amps. And this was just released in the most recent firmware update. This is the US Dripman Norm, which is actually a bass amp, but I'll tell you, it is an absolutely killer guitar amp as well. It comes up stock with this 2x15 US Dripman cab with the 67 condenser on the cap edge, 400.25 inches back. I'm just going to leave that alone. This is just the stock settings as it comes up. So really beautiful stuff right out of the gate, but we can also really crank that drive up. for some really beautiful mid-gain tones that work in a lot of situations. So obviously, again, I would make tweaks to all of these amps if I was using them in a finished product, but I just wanted to give you the lowdown on what these amps sound like right out of the gate when we just pull them up without any fancy tweaks going on. Coming in at number 2 is the brand new Line 6 Aristocrat Original. This is kind of a boutique amp, dare I say, D-style amp, and it sounds absolutely killer. It comes up stock with the 112 US Deluxe cab, again with a 57 dynamic. I'm not a fan, I mean, anybody who follows my channel knows I'm not a really huge fan of the Shure SM57 mics, so I'm going to bring in the 160 ribbon again, pull that back a couple inches, and maybe even just adjust this over no 45-degree angle. It will come a little bit more over towards the center of the cone. And we'll just try that out. Stock settings again. Actually, we'll come back over here. Again, we have a lot of drive on tap here. We also have this boost built into these new original amps. So you can see we can really get a lot of nice tones out of this amp. And last but certainly not least is the incredible Brit 2203 amp that we received in the last firmware. What I love about this is it models both the low and high input, so we can go right from quite clean actually all the way up to some beautiful overdriven tones. This loads up with a 412 1968 T75 cab with a 57 dynamic. Not my favorite. I think we can do much better. I mean, a Greenback 25, again with a ribbon mic, might do wonders to this. Something along these lines, let's say. And by positioning that mic just right, and then coming back to our actual amp model, adding a little treble and presence in there, bringing that bass back. We can do wonders to really get this sounding very good right out of the gate. Back on the bridge pickup there, so we can bring some of this back. Make a few tweaks there. And we've got some killer tones at our fingertips. All right, so there you have it. I hope you enjoyed that. What does it mean? Nothing at all. That's just my preference and my opinion, but I'd love to hear from you guys. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite amp models are in the Helix, what you're enjoying at present. I feel we are so fortunate to have so many great sounding amp models in the Helix. What a great time to be a guitar player, and so many great tones at our fingertips. And speaking of new tones, I'm going to leave you with the demo video for a full song I just recently re-recorded and I wrote many, many years ago, and I redid this with my good friends Marco Miniman on drums and Jason Henry on the bass guitar. Those two knocked it out of the park like normal. This is a song called I Don't Have 5 Minutes, and this is showcasing my new Revv Gen Double Cream Ultimate preset that is available on the Line 6 marketplace, and that actually also contains a nice custom impulse response collection that I shot of a really killer 212 Revv cabinet that's loaded with Celestion G12 H75 speakers. I really hope you enjoy this. The link is below if you like what you hear and would like to grab that preset from the Line 6 marketplace. It does help to support my channel, and I really do appreciate it. Please like the video, share it with anybody you think would get some use or enjoyment out of watching it. Also, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the little bell notification to get notified when I put new content out. I'll be back really soon with some more. Thank you guys again so much for sharing your time with me. Ciao for now.